Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. Today I have the CRKT Provoke. Now this is a Karambit style blade. I believe it's the first of its kind. I could be wrong, but it is a folding Karambit. And I think this really shed more light on CRKT's knives and their unique designs and just how creative they can get. So just a really cool blade by them. Now this blade was provided to me by the client, so just wanted to say thank you to him. Also for the specs, I'll just put them up on the screen right here. That way you guys can get a better understanding of the size and what this thing has to offer. The blade itself is a D2 steel blade with a titanium nitride coating. It's got a 6061 T6 aluminum milled handle here, so it's just one piece for the handle itself. And then for the steel arms or hinges, which I don't know the technical term for them, but they are also milled out as well underneath, as you guys can see right here. So again, a little more weight reduction even on that upper one there. So it does have some heft to it, but it's not crazy heavy. Pretty light for the size of it and what's going on. One feature that I really like on this blade is I like where they put the jimping. There we go. See it right here. So when you're holding this blade, you have a really cool section here where you can get a good contact point and just kind of flick it out, and there you go. It's ready to be used. And the deep carry pocket clip on this is actually pretty neat. I'll show you guys the design behind it. I thought it was pretty clever, but yeah, you just push it on this back section here and it just lifts up the pocket clip just enough to raise it up. And I got some pants here just to show you guys how far down it goes on the pocket. So again, just a really cool feature by CRKT. They really thought about this one. And yeah, so it doesn't completely vanish, but I mean, that's all you're gonna see when it's in your pocket. So just a really cool design on the pocket clip. Now this is the all blacked out version. So very stealthy or tactical, I guess you could call it. But yeah, just a really mean and aggressive looking blade. And then another thing I wanted to show you was it's kind of an interesting way to close down the blade, but you push on this little lock lever right here. You just push down on it and it releases everything and it just kind of falls shut and you're back in business. So just really cool compact design. Now let's get to the changes that I will be doing to this blade. It won't be much, it's going to be very subtle, since I can't really do this hinge or this arm here, since it is important for it to be steel, because the lock bar actually clicks into place here. So if I was to make this arm out of brass, eventually it would eat away at the brass and then down the road it just wouldn't lock up anymore. So I'm gonna have to leave this arm just the way it is, but I will be doing the front arm all completely brass, and just to give it a little bit of flavor. And then for the final thing that I'll be changing is the pocket clip itself. I will be etching it and then giving it a stone wash just to make it darker. That way it'll just blend in a little bit more with the blacked out look, especially on this end here. Now, in order to take this thing apart so we can get to customizing it, it takes a big flathead. I'm going to take this thing apart and we'll see what we're dealing with on the inside. Alright, so here we are all taken apart to do this arm here. So basically just going to copy it. Let's get to customizing it. Alright, so here it is all customized. Now for this blade, I didn't really do much on it, since again it's just a really subtle customization. I created a completely brand new brass arm for the blade, and I gave it the same finish I give my CRKT CEOs. So we got the stonewash finish, if I can get it on camera. Got the stonewashed finish here on the edges, and then I gave it a satin finish on the top. I decided not to go just, you know, your basic up and down. I decided to kind of go at an angle just to make it a little different. And then the only other thing I did was the pocket clip itself. So I etched it and gave it a nice stonewash. It came out really, really good. And I don't know if you guys remember from before, but it's basically silver, but now it's pretty darn close to black. So it's gonna look a lot better. It's what the client wanted, so I think he'll be happy with the result. And then also with the hardware, I gave it a nice heat ano, so it'll match the brass. Again, just a little subtle change, but it'll definitely be noticeable against the black. Another thing I forgot to mention for the arm that I created, I had to copy basically the other arm and basically create this opening between the hardware holes. So they act as washers, and it's a lot smoother when it's moving around on the frame itself. So that's a nice feature. And then I also skeletonized it just a little bit, just to bring the weight down. So now that I kind of walked through it a little bit, let's get to putting it together and see what it looks like. Alright, so here it is all put together, and again, not that big of a custom job, but it does make it unique and different. Definitely a one-of-a-kind Provokes. So yeah, again, just really good contrast against the black, and this will also patina very nicely, so it'll create its own finish, and again, very unique. And then also the heat anodized hardware, it looks really good against the stonewash and the black of the frame. So yeah, let me know down below what you guys think of this. Luckily I did my job right and everything fits right, so it's nice and snug up there, and I believe it still functions. So we'll launch it out, and yes, works perfect. So there it is. It's got a little bling on it now. So he can always go back to the original arm. So again, if he wants to make it more of a tactical and less bright and shiny, he does have the option. But then if he wants to get a little fancy, he can just throw the brass arm on. So again, I'm super happy with how it turned out, and again, it fits nicely. All thanks to basically just copying the other arm. But yeah, there it is. Looks really good. And then I didn't put any Loctite, but I've noticed if you don't put any Loctite, which I only use the blue stuff, red is very extreme. I definitely don't want to pull a Gerber on this thing. So I'm going to use blue Loctite, and then I'm going to dial it in, because I've noticed once you keep opening and closing it, it actually loosens the screws on both ends. So I'm gonna have to use Loctite just to get it to where it needs to be. Then I'll let it dry overnight, and then everything should be locked in and nice and tight. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share this video. And as always, I will see you on the next one.